How y'all doing? For this video, I'm going to do an unboxing here of a brand new box sets of the Battletech miniature game. Many of you have already seen my videos of several videos about that of my Battletech miniatures, before and after being painted. And while I don't have much time to actually play the game, I've collected these boxes just because I'll get more miniatures, and I'll have, if I ever do play, I have all the basic stuff needed. The last introductory box set for this came out about 3 years ago or so. By the time this video is, it went out of print, and so the only thing you could really try to help get started is you buy the Battletech A Time of War, which is a very thick book that covers not only mechs but everything, but it was also a cut down version of just the mech battles themselves. But this is probably a better start. So there's two box sets coming up here. We have Battletech Beginner Box. This is basically for straight beginners who want to start off but don't want to spend too much money on it. 20 bucks give or take, depending on who you buy it from. But for $60, you have Battletech A Game of Armor Combat. Much more depth into this and more mechs to deal with, and we'll explore that, here shortly. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's start with a beginner's box set here, and as that applies, it's for beginners. For a good $20, you get plenty for your value, and it really shaves off the rules, to where you don't get the complex ones, but gets you straight to the nitty-gritty of movement, modifiers, and attack. Let's take a look what you get here. So, all right, difficult trying to get this box open. All right, so what do we got here? All right. Well, you get a booklet. It's a short story by William H. Keith called Golden Rule. It's a short story that gives you an idea of what it's like to be a mech warrior in the Battletech universe. William H. Keith is no new guy to the Battletech world. In fact, he wrote the first Battletech novel, Decision at Thunder Rift. Highly recommend it. There, you can get it as a. If you can't find a physical copy, you can get a digital copy from Catalyst Game Lab. So, nice little short story. Let's go to the meat of this, the mechs. We have a Wolverine, and we have a Griffin. Two plastic mechs, very nicely sculpted for plastic. I always prefer metal, but good plastic sculpt is not a bad thing. And then we got, these are record sheets. These tell you everything. These are what you use during gameplay. They tell you what your mech consists of, information on what it is, how many tons, its movement. Over here are all their weapons, what type they are, how many they have, where they're located. That's important because when you deal damage, if you lose that part of the body, you'll lose the weapon attached towards it. Damage and their the effective ranges, short, medium, and long range, and modifiers involved with that. Hit location. When you fire upon a mech, you may you roll to see which part of the mech you hit. And this right here, these are the armor points. You fill in the dots per hit. Like, say if you have 5 damage to the center torso, and you just fill up 5 dots here. If all the dots are gone, there goes that part. And if you lose the center torso of the head, there goes the entire mech. And let's see, there's more than 2, just to let you know. Let's see, we got the Griffin, we got a Locust. Wait a minute, there's no miniature of that, but I'll get to that shortly. Another Locust. Let's see. We got another Wolverine. Got the Thunderbolt. Another Thunderbolt. You may be asking, why is there more than one with just different colors? Well, that's because we're dealing with variants. Basically, you have 2 of the same type of mech, but the variants will allow certain differences. Let me see about this. Like this variant between Thunderbolt, the 5SE, and this is a 5S. And the variants will have slightly different stats. They can have different movements. One, like this one, will have jumping capabilities. The other will not. They'll have different weapons, and some will even have different armor points. That way, you don't have to stick to the same boring mech. On the other side, some of these will have art, like some of the houses or some mech battles. The rest will have the general information and history of each mech. So that's fun little lore there to get you into the world of Battletech. Okay. Of course, Battletech takes only 6-sided dice. They give you 2, but you may want to stock up a whole lot more there because you'll be needing them. But fortunately, it's just basic 6-sided dice. Here are Mech Warrior cards. When you get done with the advanced rules, you can start using these. These involve special characters in the Battletech universe. You attach these to the mech, like Gia Ewan. He's a Lance Sergeant of House Lau. You attach it to Thunderbolt, and it gives them special abilities. Again, use these right when you're done playing the basic rules. Some fun stuff here. So you lift up this plastic card here. So if you want to play with the record sheets involving the beyond the two mechs, well, you got these punch outs. You can punch these out, attach them to these little slabs here, so that way you can play with multiple mechs, and therefore, and just in case you haven't gotten around to getting more plastic or metal miniatures, and you got terrain pieces here. Giving you extra cover or special features. On the other side shows the backend mechs and desert background. And these are wonderful. That way, so if you're not so artistically inclined, you don't have to stick to the whole your makeshift paper cutouts. So you can still get immersive into the world. All right. So other things involving the game, of course, you got to have your rule book. This is very thin compared to the other box set, but again, this is just the trimmed down rules telling you only, what you need to know. You got, how the basics. Her turn is brought about from movement, weapons, damage, jumping, and how to make an attack. It doesn't involve any complex stuff yet. That's in the other. That's in the other. How damage is dealt, and how to use all the cards and everything. And this is a little page right here telling you that if you want to go beyond, you get the Battletech Game of Armor Combat, and if you could use the more advanced rules, piling skills, critical hits, heat, additional terrain, that sort of thing. And of course a chart there for hit locations, attack modifiers, what have you. You have an instant guide to the inner sphere. Battletech is a very extensive universe covering thousands of planets throughout different star systems. This is a quick background of what goes on, what the world is like. Here is a basic map of the inner sphere and what territories the houses cover, and description of each. Of course, with Battletech, you need a map because let's see, and you have this nice little paper map right here. Hexes are used, and one side you will have green forest or grassland areas, and on the other side get a nice arid environment. Now, because in the beginner's box set you have this special promotion. If you want to expand by grabbing the metal miniatures, they're having a special offer for 2019 only. This is from Ironwind Metals. These ones make the pewter miniatures of Battletech, and having special deals. 3 packs. Each will have up to 10 to 12 mechs each. First pack will have things like an Assassin, Cicada, Commando with bases attached to it. $180 value. Go to their website, put in a special code. They'll knock off $80 to $100 value. Very good for your buck there. They have another bundle here with things like Grasshopper, Quick Draw, Trebuchet, Spider, Vindicator. Again, $170 value. Use their coupon. Type it in, you get bring it down to $100. They even have a mech special as well. Clan mech specials. Because when you get to the clan wars, you probably want to get to these. You got the Vulture, Mad Cat, Men of War, the Dasher, and all of that. There's 10 metal miniatures. 145 knocks it down to 90 if you use a special code. So only for 2019 only. I would go for that, but I already have a lot of these miniatures anyway. So, so that is the beginner's box set. Battletech. Let's look into the other one. Now we go to the more higher dollar box set, Battletech Game of Armor Combat. If you want to jump into all the rules involved, it doesn't stifle you, you don't want to go the beginner's route, or you're already a veteran player and just want more mechs, here you go. So let's take a look. Alright, we got another short story booklet by William H. Keith, Ice Storm. And this continues from the short story in beginner's box set for those completionists. This gives you an incentive right here. Alright, now we got more cards. And not only do we have more pilot cards as before, excuse me, we also have Alpha Strike cards. Now, Alpha Strike is a very streamlined alternative to the basic Battletech game. If you don't want to go through all the daunting fill in the dots and extra rules and all that will take hours to play, find the Alpha Strike rule booklet and you could play with these cards on the same mechs. It's much more quicker. I mean, this is all the information you need. It has the variants on it, so there you go. You get more 6-sided dice. They give you 2, but you'll need more for certain. And here we are to the battle mechs. You get 8 in this box set, as opposed to 2 from the previous. Alright. Let's see what we got here. We have... Let's see. Okay, we're going to do this. Sorry, I'm not very professional. We have a Shadowhawk here. I always like these guys. I have 4 already. 3 or 4 of these. So, and then we got Catapult. We have a Commando. Nice little light mech. And also, one of the reasons I want to get this, I want to get this design. They don't have a metal one of this one. This is a Locust. They do have Locust miniatures, but this is a brand new design that only exists in this box set right now. We have a nice little Thunderbolt. Alright. We get another Wolverine. So if you get both box sets, you have 2 Wolverines, but you only get the 1 Griffin, which is in the beginner's box set. So you get a nice little head, you get the Awesome. Yep. Some people, that's what it is. And you got the Battlemaster. Nice, classic, reliable mech. So you got 8 miniatures to go with this. Set these aside. The rule book, of course. This is much more in-depth. So you start with the beginner's book and you want to advance, you go to this one, and this will get full record sheets as opposed to the half ones before. This will tell you about piloting rules, damages, critical hits, because as you damage, you could get certain parts, like you destroy ammunition, you can destroy the like gyros and stuff to prevent from moving in anything. Much more in depth, and of course you still have more punch outs. Somebody's already fell out here, and you still got more. So you got 8 plastic miniatures, but you could play with, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 more. So that way, you could have much larger mech battles. Now, let's see. Battle maps. Well, of course, in the beginner's box set, there was a 2-sided. They get 1 2-sided maps. Here, you get 2 of them. They'll have some features like height, terrain. That's something you need to take into account when you play the game, because that'll give you advantage. Water, that'll help cool your mech, because heat is an issue. There's a grass side on one. There's a grassland and forest area on one, and of course you have a desert arid environment on the other. Record sheets. This is a basic record sheet. What you use to go through. To tell how good your mech is right now. This this is a Locust, light mech. Like the beginner's box set just has a top half. Here you'll have extra features like internal armor structure, rear armor structure, whereas the beginner box set, it only deals with the outer armors area. So again, you have your basic information here, what it is, movement, weapons. You'll have Mech Warrior data. You give him a name, you'll have his skill in piloting, and one of the things you could, in the advanced rules you do have is your pilot can take injuries inside, and he can be knocked unconscious, or if he takes 6 wounds, he's gone. So you don't have to necessarily destroy the mech in order to take it out. And this right here, critical hit table, once you get past the armor structures here, you hit the internal structures. So you take away all the armor on the arm, any extra damage goes right to here, and if you haven't destroyed the arm completely, you may have to roll on the critical hit table and see if you destroy certain parts. Maybe the shoulder, upper arm actuator, you could destroy one of his weapons, and that'll put him at more disadvantage the more you hit. Also, a very important feature is heat. Your mechs do gain heat, so every time you move, fire a weapon, what have you, you take all the heat that accumulates through those movements, minus off through any heat sinks that it has, and then you record how much heat is accumulated. And the more heat you gain, you'll gain penalties. -1 to movement, +2 modifier, to fire, maybe even cause the mech to shut down. So here's a little booklet that has record sheets of all the mechs in here, the miniatures plus variants. So you want to play with different mechs of the same kind. Like you got 2 different Wolverines here, the 6R to 6M, and what have you. Probably a good idea is you take a photocopy from your library or such like that, and copy these, put them in little plastic page slips, and use a wet marker so you can wipe it down, and that way you can save paper. I see a lot of players use that. Then you got the charts of how to, modifiers, where hit locations, all the basic stuff you need in one little page to keep everything in order. Then you have the primer. Primer is a further introduction into the universe and much more in depth. It talks about, same as in the beginner's guidebook, but beyond the first few pages, it gives you more in depth of different Battletech eras. Same Star League map as before. Tell about how the houses it consists of, the Star League, and the description of the houses. That way you can make your own Battletech forces in accordance to the style and flavor of these houses. So you can play the great houses or go as far as mercenaries. And here you go. And now you can go and and once you get through the beginner's box set and the Game of Armored Combat, you can expand technical readouts so you can find out more about the mechs and what they consist of. Battletech manual is basically just a manual book of the this Game of Armored Combat. It tells you all the mech rules, and so if you don't want to get the box set, you just want to grab your own miniatures and just get and just need a basic rule book. There you go. Total Warfare, that book right here will tell you not only the same instructions for the battle mechs, it'll give you information on ships, tanks, transport vehicles, spaceships, aerial combat, what have you. But if all of Battletech is too complicated, go for Alpha Strike. Very simple, streamlined rules. And if you're into fiction, a lot of the books are out of print, but you can get a lot of the old classics like Decision of Thunder Rift, the first book, and Theron in digital format from Catalyst Game Labs at very cheap, affordable prices. So there you go. So there you have it. 2 box sets that, originally they just had one, but now they divide it in 2 depending on what type of player wants to get in here. If you are completely new, you're not sure you want to spend $60 or more to, for something you may not be getting into that's too complex for you, go to the beginner's box set, $20 value, 2 mechs plus the punch outs, and a straightforward cut down rules to get so you know all the basics of movement, modifiers, and attacking. And then you can advance onto that once you're familiar with this. You go to this is a $60 value right here with 8 mechs, full set of rules, plenty of maps and options, so and you can get to both together and then slowly expand over that. You can get novels, either ebook forms, or if you go to used bookstores, you can find them. If you want to go and involve beyond the battle mechs, you could go tanks and all that, get Total Warfare, and or you could get Alpha Strike. You could go as much as or the role-playing game, A Time of War. So it's just as deep as complex as you want it to be. That's the beauty of Battletech. You could start small. You can even cut down the rules of this, and to make it simpler on yourself and advance from there. Then when you're done with that, go further. So it's I think it's pretty good if you want to get into Battletech and start small, which is always my suggestion when it comes to collective miniatures, and you could do that with the game. So Battletech, beginner box, and a Game of Armored Combat. Well, thank you all for watching, and you have a nice day.